Hello, and welcome to another week of Community Health Part 2. All right, so this week for your discussion board, you're going to be focusing on schools and really what is happening as far as school health services in your community. What services are being offered to assist the nurses in your schools? Because we all know that there are lots of kids that go to school nowadays that have either long-term health problems or permanent health problems as far as seizure disorders or things like that. So do a little examination for your discussion board to see what is happening in your community. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because some of you are going to be from very large cities that have all kinds of services at your disposal. And then some of you that come from a rural area, it's going to be interesting to see what is available in your community because it simply may be just a doctor that's available for you. I grew up in a town of only 700 people and we never even had a school nurse. You know, if anything were to happen in our school, it was really, maybe the office calling our parents to have us brought 20 miles to the closest doctor. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Do remember with your discussion boards, you need to have two sources for your posts. One must be your textbook and another one an outside source, okay? Some of you aren't fitting the bill yet for the two sources. Now, let's move on to your assignment. And really nursing is a jack of all trades when you really think about it. And your assignment is kind of looking at a lot of different things that we do as nurses. Now, the first part of your assignment is going to be looking at special populations such as those that are in poverty or homeless and what federal and state agencies are out there to provide services for these patients or for these people. The other thing we want you to look at is what community resources do you have at your disposal there, whether it's food banks, shelters, things like that. And again, it's interesting to read these assignments because, when you're from a large city, there's lots of different things or lots of options that these people have to go to. But when you're from a small community like mine, like currently I only live in a community of about 3,000 people, and really all we have in our community is food banks at the local church. We don't have shelters or anything like that. We have to travel 30 miles up to Sioux Falls to where you're actually going to see some type of shelter. So look at it from a perspective of federal level, state level, and your community. What resources are there to help these populations? And then second part is you're going to look at the role of a community nurse as far as disasters go. What is their role in preparing for disasters, functioning during the disaster, and then actually the post-disaster or the impact after the fact. So do look at that. And then finally, look at Chapter 24 case study and evaluate that. If you have any questions, please let me know. One thing on your papers, some of you are still struggling with setting it up in an APA format. All of your papers must be in APA format with running heads, page numbers, title page. Everything that you learned in HUM 410 needs to carry over into the rest of your courses. If you're having trouble with that, please let me know, because by now you guys should pretty much be in the hang of setting up a paper, at least in a shell format. References are kind of still being a problem, even being as part of the narrative and not on its own page. So again, if I'm leaving you comments, please take a look at those so you can apply those changes to future papers. Thank you and have a great week.